Hey, my name is Brett and I go by the Portland Real Estate Cowboy. Please reach out for any of your real estate needs. Today I'm going to bring you some content on Lake Oswego, and I'm going to be comparing that to the greater southern metro area, which is Tualatin, West Linn, Wilsonville, and Lake Oswego itself. So if you could, please give me a like, smash that subscribe button, and let's jump straight into the data. What we're going to look at here is on the left side of my screen right here, I have essentially the greater southern area right here, the Tualatin, West Linn, Lake Oswego areas and whatnot. And then over here on the right side of my screen, I have essentially the data for just Lake Oswego. This was pulled off of the RMLS, and so this is some pretty accurate data right here. The first thing that we're going to see is the days of inventory that we have, which is about right here. Lake Oswego's inventory is actually building up a little bit greater than some of its countering cities. Lake Oswego is about 1.8 months of inventory right now, which compared to the greater area, which is 1.6, that's West Linn, Tualatin, Wilsonville. Also, you can kind of see here the amount of units sold. And so right here in the greater southern metro, you can see that we had 1,651 units listed with a total of 1,377 sold. That's about 83.4% of the units being listed actually closing. Compare that to Lake Oswego right over here, which is 1,008 units listed versus the 797 sold. That is 79.06% of selling. So that right there is about a 4% difference. And so we are seeing about 4% less units selling in Lake Oswego than we do compared to the greater area. Accompany that with the building inventory in Lake Oswego, and we're going to start to see a bigger picture right now kind of start to form. Right here, we can kind of see the chart right here on the right, showing the higher inventory level right here with the blue line versus right over here with this blue line right there. Coming down right here, we can see essentially the prices listed, which is in yellow, versus the prices that they sold in red. And I mean, what just jumps out at me right away right here is looking over here at this chart. I mean, that kind of deviation between those two bars. I mean, you can see over here on the Lake Oswego side, the sold prices are dramatically under the listing prices for the Lake Oswego area compared to the greater area over here, which is a little bit tighter grouped together. Coming on down here, we can see average sold price percent change. And coming on down here is the next one, which is the average days on the market. And both of these are kind of relatively looking about the same. I mean, whenever you just look at the average right here, these blue graph lines, you can see that both of them are just slightly above 40 days. And so really what that means is, I mean, you should expect, if you list here in Lake Oswego, about an 80% chance of your house selling within about 40 days if it's listed right and it's priced right. Coming on down here, this is essentially one of the best tables that I kind of like to look at. And what I always do is I always kind of simplify it over here into an easier way to kind of look at the data. And right here, we can see Lake Oswego, Tualatin, Wilsonville, West Linn. And right here in column B, we can see the average listed price versus the average sold price over here in column C. What I went ahead and did was on the right side of the screen, again, I have just the Lake Oswego isolated data. And that right over here is in row G, the listed price versus H, the sold price. And then in these yellow boxes right here is essentially the percent change that we have from the sold price versus the listing price. And so really what we can see is in August, that's whenever things really kind of started changing in the markets. And that's kind of what I'm going to focus on right here. 18.85% in August. That means sellers are coming off of their asking price 18.85%. And that's in the Lake Oswego, Tualatin, Wilsonville, West Linn area. And I mean, Lake Oswego, I mean, it's almost identical to that 18.84. I mean, 0.01% difference. I mean, this essentially just kind of mirrors, you know, each other almost the whole entire way. 18.05 versus 18.01, 25.55 versus 25.8. I mean, these are just fractions away from each other. But I mean, we can see here that the average listed price in Lake Oswego was 1.2 million versus the accepted price, which is low nines, for a 25.8% difference. And I mean, essentially the same, looks the same for that greater area over there. In another video, I will be taking a look at West Linn, which kind of seems to be weathering the storm just a little bit better than Lake Oswego. But I mean, essentially what I kind of wanted to show you here through some of these graphs is how long these houses are sitting on the market. So the average days on the market, the percentage of the house selling for Lake Oswego, that is about 80%. And so that would be 80% in about 41 days. And the amount of inventory that we're building up on the market. So Lake Oswego, about 1.8 months of inventory on the market currently. And then of course, what the accepted prices currently are versus the listing prices. And so again, this data right here is looking at Lake Oswego, and that is essentially reflecting about 1,000 units. So of those 1,000 units right there, we can see that about 25% come off on the price of those, essentially what, 97, so 800 units sold. Anyways, I hope that you guys found this information useful and just kind of better educate yourself on how to navigate, you know, the current real estate market if you are in the market. You know, right now it does kind of seem like it is turning into a buyer's market. And I mean, I can tell you right now, we are seeing, you know, sellers coming to the table a lot more. Obviously, they're negotiating 25% of their asking price right now. So if you are a buyer, you know, don't be scared just to make an offer. I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean, just offer what you can, what you feel comfortable with. And at the end of the day, I mean, the worst that they say is no. I mean, you didn't lose much. And, you know, if you are a seller, I mean, there are some kind of creative ways around this right now that we can talk about. Either like, you know, a lease to own, you know, trying to see if we can get your mortgage assignable, or just, you know, right there in the listing, just offering like a 2-1 buy down, you know, for the buyers, you know, something to kind of try to mitigate, you know, the interest rates that I know that we're all feeling at this point in time. But that concludes the video. I hope that you did find value in it. Again, I would hope if you are in the real estate market, just reach on out. I would love to help you out with, you know, whatever life's throwing at you right now. And until next time, I hope you have a good afternoon. Bye.